Okay. So we did all the introductions now. Okay, so I guess to kind of tee it off, let me ask you for today, besides the demo and talking about the demo, what do you guys want to kind of see and what do you guys want to cover as well too? Holly, if you're talking, there you go.
No, I realized I was muted. I mean, I guess, because when we had you on here before,
Yeah.
And there were some technical difficulties, and so we missed a little bit of it, and we were running a little bit short on time, so we kind of had to go back over, but just like a basic overview, and maybe discuss this with Pam earlier. Dale, I'm not exactly sure what you want from this demonstration, but yeah, just basically, if I'm a member and I hear that this is a potential benefit for me, and how are you going to excite me about it? What does that look like?
Okay. How about you, Dale?
Yeah, I'd love to know current users, numbers, what your retention rate is, and just the basics of the overall. And you may have provided some of that information, and I may have missed it since I missed the other meeting. But if anything you can share as far as current usership, costs, what people are paying, things of that nature, just so I can understand the business model. Okay. That's great.
Dale missed our last call, and during the last call, I went over all of the diligence work, and I can connect with you to go over that further if you want. So
that's fine with me. I just would love, and if you have it in anything in paper form that you can email me, I'm happy to review it while we're going through this too.
Okay. And Pam, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, I was raising my hand because I don't want to go over the stuff that we already went over. If I was just going to make the same suggestion that Keith made, is maybe supply Dale with some of the slides and things that we went over last week.
Sure.
I think for those of us that were on that call, Alex felt very confident with your program and how it works. And I think we more needed to know, is this the right thing for our members? Is this going to help our members? Basically, and just to back up a little bit. Oh, I didn't realize my camera's not on. Hold on. Just to back up a little bit, you guys, just to clarify, Keck and I's conversation earlier today was because before this meeting was set up, I had gone online and requested a demo. I also did this a couple of months ago, but I had to cancel because of my scheduling conflict. And so I just kind of wanted to see if I'm a CRS member and I request a demo, what does that look like? Instead, Keck and I had a conversation that I felt was much more beneficial than actually seeing the demo, which I know you're going to, you said you were going to go over that today.
Yep.
But a lot of the things that Keck said to me were very enlightening for me, and I would just like it to be the same for everybody else. I didn't mean to step on anybody's toes is basically what I'm trying to say. It was pre-planned. So
yeah. So okay, there's a couple of things, and I will address all your questions. I was taking some notes here as well too. And as more items come, we're having conversation. I think that from our perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but from our perspective, I think that this is a great partnership to have. And what I feel like we're at that 1 yard line left, and but one thing that troubles us, to be honest with you, is we don't know what we need to answer for you guys. And until the conversation I had with Pam, we didn't know what is holding it up, because from a due diligence, it checks the box. From a business partnership, it checks the box. But then what is the last, remaining? And then, to be honest with you, it threw us for a loop when the request to kind of say, hey, can we go back and redo a demo, right? It feels like we're getting back to step one. And so we kind of said, okay, let's have a conversation. And that's why I would love to kind of definitely go through the demo and kind of answer the questions that you guys have. But what other items might be open, or that you guys have a concern, or not even from you, but from your constituents as well too, that we want to make sure that we kind of can address so that you guys feel comfortable, because we know that it is a big investment for you guys, and it's something new for you. And so therefore we want to kind of make sure that we can help you guys get there as well too. Okay. Okay. So with that, let me kind of jump onto the demo, and then along the ways we can kind of cover other items. Let me share my screen with you. And bear with me for a second. Okay, so I'm going to frame this up into, and I'm not going to repeat this for you guys, but it's more to kind of frame up the product and levels of services as well too, that we talked and that you guys have seen. Okay, so there are four product lines, or four product SKUs. Starting from the basic, which we are saying that all members will get a free CRM. And the free CRM basically allows us to be able to give your all the members a CRM that's fully functional. There's nothing holding them back except certain features like texting, right? And the library of action plans, or known as drip campaigns as well too. So they would get a base CRM, and that's for all members. And I'll show that to you. And then subsequently, there's the enhance, which then allows them to get access to the library of the action plans, and then also get access to texting on top of it too. And then over time, if they want to use our system as dialer, that's something on the roadmap that we can add on top of it, and so forth. And we'll just charge according to price at that point in time. Okay, so that so that's the second product. And then the third product is the lead management, which is where our AI is managing the leads. Think of it as, instead of you hiring an assistant or you having to manage a CRM yourself as an agent, you are actually having a instead of hiring an assistant, you have the AI manage your leads and nurture those leads for you. That's what the lead management is all about. Okay. And then the last one, the highest level, would be the lead generation. So it's the same thing as lead management, but we do the marketing and get you the leads. And this is where Pam and I were I was sharing with her the differences is that in this product here for lead management, you provide the leads, and we do have a lot of clients doing that. Or if you don't have a lot of leads and you want us to generate the leads, we can do this for you and generate the leads through, let's say, Google or through LinkedIn or through Facebook as well too. Okay, and that's what this the LeadGen package is about. Any questions on that part before I go into the platform?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Now, so in here, this is our platform. I'm going to share with you a couple of key things. I'm going to start with just a basic view of our dashboard, our CRM as well too. The idea is that you can track opportunities with a dashboard, and you can kind of track if this was a team environment, what would that look like? Where how many handoffs do I have? How many leads do I have? How many are also checking out our website as well too? So this integrates to the website, and you'll be able to do your listings and look at what views, what properties have they looked at, and so forth as well too. Okay. And then there are other key details and metrics here, like how if you were to use the AI, I'm commingling the a little bit of the details here, but you've got the AI kind of engaging with leads and so forth, and tracking to this, how many emails, how many text messages are being sent out. Let me kind of show you what that looks like with a lead in general. Okay, if I go through here and I can create, I'm just talking about a CRM perspective. Here are a list of leads. In here, you can create within our system reports, views of different leads and stuff like that. You can create multiple reports, people who are on the mailing list, and then you can create a mailing list. You can kind of see who's your A list or your hot warm leads as well too. You can create special report views that you can come back to on a regular basis. Okay, when you click on a lead, you can click on this, and it's very simple and easy to use. There's nothing, and this works on the mobile with mobile apps as well too. On here, you will click on the lead and you can see quickly, you know, all the information like, okay, how many emails have I sent out to this person? How many have responded? If there's a home search, I've got it here as well too. If there are any notes, if I want to set up an appointment, I just click and I just pop up and add my appointment. Now, if I added an appointment here, for example, you know, call Sean for coffee, right? And I kind of say, you know, if I want to set up an appointment, I can set this for a particular day next week, and then I'll do it at 1 o'clock here. And on here, it will sync up to my calendar on my phone. So now it puts it on the calendar for me in the future for me, and it tracks all the information for me. So it's not only gonna put it on the CRM, but it syncs up to your calendar on your phone as well too. Okay. You can send text messages as well, emails right from the platform. You know, quickly send a text message. Now, the way that we broke this up, the texting, you would have to subscribe the $20 per month in order to get the text messaging on top of it. Okay, so super simple, quick and easy to use. I know, Pam, you use Top Producer. Dale, what do you use? I'm curious. Or what have you used?
I have been doing this since the 1990s, and I'm still using Excel, Outlook, and the whole Microsoft Office suite. I built everything in that, and so I still mail merge and then go through. I have an Exchange server with Microsoft that I use for my mail.
So you hack it all together. I love this. I love somebody that can do all that stuff. But do you keep notes on your Excel spreadsheet, or does it become cumbersome over time?
Oh, it's my Excel spreadsheet has so much data that I know your dogs, your pets' names. I know and by the way, since you asked me, let me just ask this question real quick. How adaptive is your contact management? Because like one of our classes, we teach them to maintain certain data, such as like family, occupation, recreation.
Oh, absolutely.
Can
absolutely.
you add those data points and
Sure.
Don't go deep in that? Yes or no is fine. I don't.
Yes, we do. Yes, you do. You can. So, so in here, this is like the quick view of the contact, right? That I was showing you. This shows the timeline. So I'm going to map the equivalent. By the way, Holly, which CRM do you use yourself?
Well, our company has their own that they had made for them. And so I was a big proponent of having a CRM from council, because a lot of associates don't want to adapt to their company CRM, because then the company keeps the data
Exactly.
after. So anyway.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's good to know. Thank you for sharing, guys. So here's a couple of things, and Dan, you appreciate this. On your Excel, you have multiple tabs, I'm sure, for keeping notes on each of your clients and so forth, right? Over time. So we have here a timeline that you can kind of browse through and see when did the lead sign up, the timeline when it was contacted, what properties. This shows the entire timeline. Not only do you keep this information here, but you can also look at the meeting notes that's captured for that lead as well too. Okay. Now, if you kind of look at this, to answer your question also, this is like all the information within our system that you can capture. Okay. From personal contact, basic contact information, to personal information, what company do they work for, jobs, others as well to their family information. And then this is super important to me, how you can tag and categorize your leads as well too. And all of this you can customize. If you don't like any of these, like default values on here, and this is a multi-select, you can kind of create and customize this yourself. Okay. And in fact, if you don't like the word categories and you want to modify this, you can customize those field names yourself too. We have some agents who are working 2 different jobs. Sometimes they're part real estate agent, and sometimes they're doing some other stuff like Legal Shield Associates as well too. So we have, people who have different businesses, and it supports them from that flexibility as well too. Okay. Now, let me kind of go deep dive a little bit deeper as well too. If you choose to kind of integrate this through using our website, you can also do a home search on the system too. Okay. And so on here, we know that this lead here has a home search for a 3-bedroom, 4 bathrooms, 90 to 115,000. Let's say that I want to kind of, I want to kind of edit that one here. And I want to change this instead of 3 bedrooms, or I'll make it 4 bedrooms, and I don't need a 3-bedroom. I can also search what areas I want to focus on. So let's say this is my demo environment that I'm showing you right now, right? Let's say it's in Miami. So I'll put in, like, let's say Miami, Miami Beach as well too, right here. And then I can do a home, and then the bottom here, these, as you guys know, every MLS has slightly different values that they're tracking, right? So we can bring all those different values into the system, but by default, there's a bunch of common ones in there that you can kind of look at as well too. And you click the home search. So from this perspective, the number of homes in this area, I now can narrow it down, and I can do a couple of things as an agent. If I'm customizing and reaching out a lead for them, I can kind of click on this here, and I can send them a text message or send them the listings of itself. And here it is, it's a default, and it automatically posts all the information there. Yeah, I found some and sends my mailbox here and so forth, right? And I can do that quickly. Or if I wanted to do a home search and I want to kind of do a geometric shape here, I'm going to just kind of, a polygon search. Instead of you having to go to your MLS, you can do it within our platform, and I can search there. And then here, now I've done this area search here. I can kind of save this as my home search, updated and so forth, and then it's done. You don't have to go to the MLS. It's one point that you can go into.
Okay, can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
Does that require an IDX agreement with your local MLS?
Yes, it does.
So it's just like an IDX feed to your website. This would be an IDX feed to your CRM.
That is exactly right. And we can help you build a website, as a one-off, ancillary service as well too, right? Okay. We've got a team that is dedicated towards building websites.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And okay. This is also mobile friendly, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Okay. So that's how contacts work. You can now I'm going to, the other thing too, the system can do is that you can track your transactions. So as an agent, I can track my transactions in here. So, most systems don't even offer that unless they're, only real estate focused, right? I don't believe Follow Up Boss tracks the transactions in there. So that's something that we do within the system. We try and make it easy, and we try and make it comprehensive for a one-stop shop. So on here, I can track like the different transactions, the details around there, and look at who's the client in here. Sorry, I haven't used this. So this is my demo, and so it's loading a little slower here. And maybe not. Hang on. I know I might have corrupted it, and because my testers use this at the same time here. So let me kind of see if I can do this. One quick second. In here, let me go into here and the details here. So here's like the storage of the transaction here, right? I can store what property did they buy, track whether they're a buyer or seller, track the price, the history of it, the gross commission income, the commission rate. So if I put actually, if I clear this out and I put in like this calculates at 3.5%, it automatically puts the information in there. Okay, so you've got all those details, listing dates and all that tracking within the system there. Okay. I keep track of all that in there. So that's the transaction. A couple of key features in here. I'm going to skip some of them, just kind of keeping it brief. As I mentioned to you, we've got action plans here. And the action plans are basically our library of all the content that you can kind of download. We predefine all the content from, from holidays to nurturing leads and stuff like that. And got a way to kind of reach out to follow up with leads as well too, for FSBO to a buyer post closing with all, with the follow-up action plans to kind of trigger those are all defined within our platform as well too. So we've, over the years, we've created and more content, and we update this as well too, from like birthday wishes to house anniversary to, hey, reaching out to nurture a lead or a buyer post closing. In this example here, you've got like here an email sent out over a course of a year and a half of, hey, can you do a review for me? Let me check in on you and see how the house that you just bought, how is it going for you, to all the way up to a house anniversary and reminding you to call them. So those are all the best practices that we try and incorporate into our CRM as well from a drip campaign standpoint of view. Okay. Any questions on that part? Okay. So there's two other key things that I want to share with you on the CRM piece. Okay. So we have what we call touch points. And this is a best practice, and we all, and you guys have been in the business for a long time. One of the things that we use touch points is a way to nurture your leads. So let's say that, we use it internally within Fieldnotes as well to reach out to our clients as well too. So the way that it has got an algorithm that the platform is constantly searching for leads that you have not talked to for a while. And based on the relationship status, how you determine, first of all, how many leads do you want to reach out to on a monthly, on a weekly basis, right? Just as a best practice. So if we work with coaches to kind of design this feature here. So like if you deal with like Ninja coaching, are you guys familiar with Ninja? Okay, so we designed this one. This is part of their Ford 50, right? Their goal is like 50 leads that you should be in touch with on a given week. And that's a lot, actually, to be honest. But our system, you can kind of say, give me 50, set the goal for 50, or you can set it for 20. And it was and gamify this a little bit for you to track this. So it was based on that, and based on your status of where they're cold, warm, or hot lead, or whatever category you want to tag it, you can determine the frequency in which you reach out to the lead. And then it will serve up all these names for you to reach out on a weekly basis. And then it will kind of say, okay, when you contact your call list for the week, then you click on this, and I can add a note to here and say, talk to Ashley about her vacation. And it was a phone call, and I saved this. Okay. And then it saves it. Sorry, this is some error. I think I did something wrong here. So I'm going to put this here. Something is like glitching on me. Sorry. So you basically save a note here on here, and then you will be able to kind of like keep track of all this information, and then it captures the information for Ashley. And now I touched on one person already, right? And then if throughout the week, as I contact more, it will update and add the note. I don't even have to add a note in there, but then it will keep track and keep to, and so forth. And every week it resets the clock and resets the numbers, and you call in 50 or 20 people in this case here, right? And that's the way for nurturing your leads. And like I said, we all have our favorite people to call usually. But what I love about this feature is that it randomly, through the algorithm, based on the algorithm, it kind of identifies all the people, whether it be cold, warm, or hot, to kind of reach out to those leads so that they don't fall through the cracks for you. Okay. And then on here, if you are tracking your transactions, you're nurturing your leads, then you can use it to kind of nurture your contacts overall. Okay, so I think I've gone through like the CRM pretty much quickly in detail. Any questions on this so far? Okay, Dale, Pam. Okay, on here, let's talk about the lead generation piece of it then. Okay, and what that would look like.
It's not really a question, it's just a comment. So obviously without utilizing this CRM, I don't know all the details of it. Question number one, is it user friendly? Our average age of members are 62. So is it user friendly?
Yep. So I would say to you, is it user friendly? We try to optimize and make it as easy as and simple as much as possible, right? We've taken a lot of best practices. I'll give you an example. Well, let me ask you this, Pam. Do you find Top Producer easy to use?
Well, I've been using it for 20 years, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say this. I don't use it for anything other than an address book. So no, it's not user friendly.
Okay. Yeah.
But as far as adding a contact and creating a address label, then yes, it's
okay.
user.
Okay. Okay.
I actually hate it.
We won't share this recording here.
There you go.
So let me kind of share with you what we do and why. When we kind of design our software, there's a couple of things that we try and make it user friendly as much as possible and with as low number of clicks as possible as well too. Okay, and we're always looking to revamp and redesign. When you look at our software today, where it was 2-3 years ago when we first started this, it looks very different because colors have changed. And as you look at software design, things evolve over time. So what might have been good for Top Producer back in the 90s when they first developed this is no longer functional or as user-friendly anymore, right? And same, and so they, unfortunately, if they are still behind in the 90s with their software, with their design. Whereas what we've done is like we take the best practices and we've been kind of working and improving the UI, the user interface every 6 months to a year. We kind of we improve upon it, make it easier to use. So here's an example. When we used to look at this, we improved on this, and now it's one click, and you can kind of see. Oh man, I don't know why it's slowing down for me right now. I apologize for this.
Because we're on with you.
Yes, I think the demo, what is it that they say whenever you have a demo and then this happens kind of thing?
Or your car makes the noise and when you get it to the mechanic, it doesn't make the noise anymore.
Exactly. I just don't know why it's just doing that right now. Hang on. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this. This is my stop. I'm going to pause for a quick sec, okay? And I'm going to restart my screen because what happens is that I do a lot of demos, and when the demos are happening, it screws up some of my my setup as well too. So bear with me for 1 second. I'm gonna pause the recording too.
Check restart. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So on here, like if you look at this, I'm saving with the design, Pam, that you were talking about being easy to use. So you basically click on one click and you can look at the person's information right there. And notice that we try not to overwhelm you with all the information that's available. Like look at, remember earlier I showed you there's all the information with like alternate phone number, their family information, their categories and stuff like that. There's a lot of fields that we can capture for you, but it's only showing you what information you have for that contact only. So we share with you only the design. The design is having the minimalistic approach, showing you what you have on that contact rather than showing you a bunch of blank fields. Right? And those are the little nuances that we take into account from a design perspective. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'll tell you one of the things that, Dale, sounds like your technology well. One of the things that I find like with Microsoft sometimes, right, they show you all the options and it gets it's powerful, but it's overwhelming. And that's something that we take into consideration is not to overwhelm the user. Okay. That's a great question. Yeah.
Can I ask, so this everything we're seeing right here, right now, outside of texting is what would be included for our members?
That's correct. That is correct.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any questions on the CRM?
Yeah, to feed off of Holly's question. So all of the action plans, email action plans, everything is included in the base, in the basic.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. The only thing missing is texting. So if they pay the $20 for the enhanced program, that adds the texting capability.
Right, and then the library as well too, where they can create their own action plans, but for enhanced, they also get the library of the action plans as well too.
Okay. So they can set up their own action plans on the basic.
That's right.
but you provide them with content on the
predefined content, which then they can customize, right? So if you think about this, like 95%, you're 95% of the way there with our templates already in there, with our default, with our action plans. And then you can kind of create and you can just modify, add your signature block to it and so forth. And then it's all yours.
Okay. Do you have to do that each time, or you just set that up?
You set it up one time for the action plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Are we good with this CRM? Are there any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the for the lead management and the lead generation as well too. Okay. On here, in here, what we trying to actually, I'm going to log into a client's example. And Dale, how much, I know you're catching up to speed on this. How much do you know about our AI platform, or have you been exposed to any of it?
Well, I got on it before the meeting and spent some time with what you have available, but I don't know a lot about it other than what I could learn by reading your site.
Okay, let me give you a quick overview, and I'll do this within a minute long, and so that you can have some context to this and you're not going cold on this. Okay, the way that we talk about this, give me a second. Let me quickly share this with you. You guys see my screen? Okay, so basically lead management is what the AI platform, and this is what the core of our business is with the technology. Okay, and the whole idea is that you've got Annette as the AI, and it's your assistant. And as I was in the early conversation that I had with Pam earlier, one of the things that what we're doing is the best practice of following up with leads, right? Because in real estate sales, really, it's all about the follow-up game. You can get new leads, but if you never follow up with them, you've lost the opportunity. It never happened, right? So in fact, I always tell I run a podcast, and every time I say, don't waste money on marketing if you're not going to follow up with those leads. And on average, according to NAR, on average, an agent follows up with a lead 1.5 times and stops right after that. And according to NAR as well too, and just in general sales, it takes 7 to 8 times for a lead, 7 to 8 attempts before a lead even responds to you. So that gap there is what we're trying to solve for, right? We're taking basically good old-fashioned sales acumen and putting it into best practice, putting the best practice into action for your typical agent. And so our AI will follow up with the lead. We call her Annette, and it will follow up in one of 4 ways. Text messaging, which is about 80% of the time. Emails is about 3 to 5%. And then Facebook Messenger, as well as also we have an ISA call center that will call on those leads for you. Okay, so basically, when you give us and entrust us with your leads, or if we do the marketing for you to create those leads, our AI is the first point of contact. They're following up with those leads for you, nurturing them, following up with them, qualifying it before it gets, and then it gets handed off to you once it becomes a qualified opportunity. Okay, so if you look at that, you're not wasting your time chasing those leads down. You don't have the time, nor the tenacity to want to follow up with those cold leads, right? And this is where our system will help out with those leads there. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll give you a couple of examples, and then I'll show you a live one actually, and I'll log into a live system for you. This is an example of how the conversations are. If this was a chatbot, you will see it, you get that distinct feeling that it feels like a chatbot, right? Whereas within our system here, you look at like how the system handles and responds to a lead. I'll give you a second to kind of read through it, the one example on the left and then the one on the right.
And what's the difference between the two, Keck?
Sure. So the one on the left here, I'll highlight, and thanks for asking that. here's what I would say. The one on the left, when you and I, read this response here, not sure yet, maybe next week, right? To us as humans, we read this as like, it's not a negative response, but it's not super positive, right? But if a chatbot looks at this, it looks at keywords only. So chatbots, you have to script it to kind of say, look for certain keywords, like not is a negative word. Maybe it's what we call an ambiguous word, right? Like, I don't know how to interpret that. And most chatbots would have taken this and says, could you repeat that? Or please choose option A or B kind of thing. We've all seen that kind of response before, right? It's a little bit robotic. And then if you show that, they will just kind of drop right away, right? Whereas for AI, we look at the whole semantic language here, and look at this and a whole sentence structure, and then grade it from, instead of, is it positive or negative? We look at it as like on a scale of 1 to 100, right? Where would this rank? And this would probably rank, I don't know, north of 50, let's say, but it won't be 100, right? And so that's when our system will kind of continue forward and move and push ahead. And then the other key things that is part of human language, which is very important, is this part here. Got it? Perfect time of the year. Those are acknowledgement that even you and I, as we are having conversations, you are like, kind of thing. That's exactly what we're doing over text messaging, right? Or perfect time of year is empathy as well too. Those are things to kind of build on a relationship in itself, and that's what we're trying to emulate within the AI. And then on the other side here, this is to really show you that if you use our lead generation, it will not only reach out, and sometimes you don't get a response right away. That's where our system will follow up with those leads 50 times over a course of 18 months. That's a lot of follow-up. Probably unnecessary, but you know what? You're not going to get leads that are not responding to you, right? And you're turning over every rock. And so in this example here, this lead is kind of reaching out, didn't respond the first time. So the second time, it reaches out and sends a link of potential homes. It actually creates a home search for you, starts sending them home. So it starts nurturing. That's where the IDX piece comes into play as well too. Okay. And that's where it's super important for us to nurture the lead using the IDX. And that's why we integrate with the websites and so forth too. Okay. And then from here, it would start having a conversation and starts qualifying the leads as well too, before it hands it off to you. Any question on how it works so far? Okay.
I like
good? Yeah.
I like that. I'm looking here to the left, and you're doing it like personally, but it also looks like you do it as a real estate team as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
Either or. Okay.
And the idea is that we are trying to make Annette, the AI, as your assistant, not representing you, but as your assistant.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me stop and pause and switch over for a quick sec. If I can stop. Okay, give me a moment as I also, and I'll log into an actual environment and I'll show you examples of the conversation of a live one too. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so here's an example of a client's data environment, and then we've gotten the permission. On here, you've got 85 handoffs here. You can see the stats, and we calculate this on the average home price in the area of where they're selling. So that's the number of handoffs times the number of the average home price equals to $32 million opportunities. And you can see, with their, the number of handoffs here. And then you can kind of track and look at all the handoff of those qualified leads itself too. Okay. Now I'm going to share one example, and why I'll share with you. This is a perfect use case one to kind of share with you. Let's see this guy here. And I'll explain to you why. Let me kind of share with you this example here. This particular lead was an old lead that was given to us from their platform from Sync. Okay. And in here, so Pam earlier asked me, like, what's the difference between lead management and lead gen? because we didn't do the marketing for this particular lead here. It came from his old system. And on here, you can see the conversation of the AI with there. So I'll start with this one. Brittany has already sold the home for us. Okay. But so this was like March. Okay. Now let me scroll back in time a little bit here. So start in November. Okay. When the lead came into the system and start following up here. And this is my example here that I love. And you will see like, hey, Charles, this is Annette again, and this is from here and so forth, right? And we're following up with those leads and so forth here, okay? And I'll save you the time of counting. 27 times over a course of 3.5 months. So November 18th, first response, February 1st. 27 times before it even responded. And it's not annoying. It never said stop to unsubscribe or anything like that, right? And I don't know any agent who have gone through this and do that follow-up, right? I mean, honestly, can any one of you guys tell me that you will do that 27 touches, feeling like there's a chance in hell that I might get out of this?
I was sitting there thinking about the fact that I have heard Del Carlton say it takes 7 no's to get a yes when you were saying that earlier.
Exactly. And this is 27 times.
Mm-hmm.
And if you never used the technology to follow up with them, you never would have gotten that lead. And watch this. So what company do you represent? And then it's following up and explain, where are you planning to look or buy a home? Great. Sell in Las Vegas. Great. What kind of homes? Blah, blah, blah. 3-bedroom, 2 baths. Great. What price range are you thinking of? Okay, great. And then it connects it with the agent at that point in time.
Yeah.
Right. So you would not, that's why it's like, I'm telling you, like, you know, this is where it could help your agents to become more successful.
This is where it's a little terrifying, if I really am being honest about AI.
Well,
it's creepy. I mean, I know we have to embrace it because it's here. But I mean, that's really pretty scary to think about that. I mean, yeah.
So I would kind of say, I understand how you feel about that. And our perspective is this: we're not using AI to replace the relationship.
Right.
You guys and Pam and I talked about this earlier. Dale or Holly, are you guys familiar with like the sales funnel, like what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So your job, I feel, okay, is this: our job using AI is to help you. You don't have, there's only so many hours in a day that you have, right? Either you're working 24 hours a day or you're going to hire somebody to do that, right? And so it is rather, you know, once you start farming it out, we're taking those cold leads and we're distilling it so that you have warm or hot leads to deal with only, because that's the capacity that you have. If you don't, you know, if you don't use the technology, then you're going to be paying for a person, and that's going to be a lot more costlier.
Oh, I get it. I mean, I'm just thinking about the future of everything, like looking at what the capability is right now. Yeah, I can only imagine in another 6 months to a year and that type of thing. So, and
that's why, like, well, this is not easy. I mean, it's taken us all the time that we've had to focus on the net to kind of build and this is what we call a technology moat that protects our castle, our treasures, right? This is where we are focused on real estate, and we're very strategic in which areas we want to focus on. We don't just kind of say, oh, we're going to be the AI for every industry, every vertical out there. We're just focused on real estate and the flooring that we've talked about, right? But nothing else.
And Keck, can I weigh in a little bit on this?
Sure.
We talked last week, or maybe it was when we saw you in Chicago. We talked about, I don't know if we called them the competition or other companies that are supposedly doing something similar to this.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that this is truly the only CRM that has a fully integrated AI component versus the other ones are more like chat box. Is that
Some
correct?
That's correct. As of now, there are some that have chatbots, and then another, and then some are trying to integrate into other platforms as well, the AI providers as well too.
Okay.
Okay.
And are you seeing more people, not just realtors, but more people adopt AI opportunities?
Absolutely. Let's put it this way. When we first started out, with this, we didn't see any competition at all. Everybody, when they talk about AI, there's two major types of AI that people talk about, but they use it synonymously. One is what we call big data, right? Like doing data analytics using AI and kind of predict the future or predict the trends and forecasting, right? That's big data type of scenario AI that you're using, and that was, 4 or 5 years ago, that was like the biggest, hottest thing. Whereas we kind of took the bet and said, you know what, nobody's focused on this part. We believe that the biggest challenge in the space is the follow-up by salespeople. We didn't even think about real estate at that point in time. And we were thinking that the biggest challenge, and we should invest in natural language processing. Now, let natural language processing in other areas have taken off, and they're starting to kind of, try and get into the space. But we've got a head start on this. Why we focus on real estate is because, we can get more agents, more users using the system and reach out to more leads faster than we could in one vertical at any given time.
Okay, and then there was also a conversation that I was telling Keck about, like we have referral exchange that our members don't pay for unless they want to pay for the premier program or whatever it's called. But a lot of those leads are hard to convert. And me personally, I give up after the first 2 or 3 times. We can take those leads from referral exchange and put them into this program and have Fieldnotes Ai do the lead management for us. And you said that there's a lot of agents that are taking their leads, whether they're from Zillow, Realtor.com, numerous other platforms for LeadGen, and they're putting them into this program and using this program for the management of those leads.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Okay. So any other questions?
Yeah, Keck, does it integrate with an RETS? Like Yes.
Yes. So we partner with a IDX broker, which is part of Elm Street Technology. And so we actually can integrate with those platforms.
Thank you.
Okay.
I thought we had discussed that in Chicago, and that's, because I had a website that I'd had for years. And then when the local board changed to RETS instead of what we had been using, then it was like my website was just void. Like they're of no use to me anymore. Remember?
Oh, interesting.
Maybe Constellation Bottom or whatever it was.
Oh my gosh, this recording should never get out.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Anyway. Oh
well. Okay. So any other questions about this? Did it help you guys?
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you guys this. And I talked to Pam earlier too. What are there any other items out there? Are there any other items out there that you feel like you guys have that we need to address, or is this the last piece?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
In this, I'm hesitant to ask some of these logistics questions. You may have already covered them, but let me ask, and if you've covered it, you can send it back and Keith will update me. But the onboarding aspect of, let's just say we have 28,000 members and only 14,000 of them would even use the product. And then only 5% of those would actually take action upon knowledge. And let's just say that 5% of that 14,000 contacted you within a 14-day time period, how would you onboard that? Is it all automated? I'm just trying to figure out we don't want the negative immediate outburst.
Yeah. So this is where we've talked about this when I was in Chicago, and and we talked to the marketing team. The way that I understand from your organization is that we would have there's two pieces to this. We would need to ramp up, and part of the investment is to ramp up our platform to be able to kind of support some of the automations and the scale that what we're talking about. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, is in talking with the marketing team, with Keith and the senior leadership, we would then work with your organization to kind of roll this out within the regional VPs, if I understand correctly, your organizational structure, and then we'll kind of drive adoption, and then within regions, and we can kind of do a controlled rollout of this as well too, rather than just kind of open the floodgates and so forth and not support, right? Because we can learn to kind of make sure that we want to be able to put our marketing horsepower, as we partner on this together, to kind of make sure that we roll this out properly and kind of get all the right attention, and then kind of show, as Pam was sharing with me earlier, it's like, you want to be able to get people to kind of talk about it and kind of share the excitement as well too, and gain the momentum. Okay.
Yeah, Dale, that was a question that I had too, with the number of staff that are working right now, how does that look when we open the gates basically, and we really try to engage? So I think that, talking about having the RVPs do it, then the state leaders, and the, kind of spreading the word. Yeah.
And one of the things that I feel like, we could also go, we will be getting on the road show together as well. We've talked a little bit about that. And I want to be able to kind of this is why, like, if I could instill in you guys the urgency instead of waiting, because spring, by the time we start building this and we ramp up, it'll be spring faster than you can blink an eye, kind of thing.
So Keck, what is the capability if for, say, everything was figured out and signed and everybody's deciding to move forward, what's the immediate capability for users to be added? And say it was like a perfect case scenario, everything's done, it's a week from now or 2 weeks from now or a month from now, whatever that looks like, how many members would be able to access the platform and it function properly or function well at that time?
I think within 60 days, we should be able to kind of ramp up to a lot of the development and kind of automatic, the CRM, the enhanced CRM, and all of that as well too.
But how many?
Oh,
how many
there's
people?
no real limit to at that point in time. We just have to coordinate on the marketing standpoint of view, because we can scale. We are based on the technology that we've built, our platform is super scalable. We are on the Azure cloud. And so if we need to, right now we're running on about, I could be wrong, but half a dozen servers right now. And if we need to scale up to like, virtual, and Keith can attest to this, on the cloud, you can scale that to 100 servers overnight if you needed to. Does that make sense?
You're saying that you could scale up to be able to onboard 700 people within 60 days.
Yeah, it will be just the marketing, the manpower of the onboarding training stuff that we would kind of work on, and that's what the hiring and the investments would look like.
And would that, would the onboarding and everything be done through y'all and part of our team at council, or there would be additional employment that would be required on your side or on our side, or how does that?
To be honest with you, we would need to do some hiring on our side on that part, but I also think that we need to do some collaborative, like joint marketing out of this, internal marketing, rather than just coming from us as well too.
So like we would do a webinar,
yes,
a webinar demo of the product.
Yeah, and we would like. So Dale, you tell me you're an instructor, right? And so to roll, we would probably do some joint sessions with you or one of the team members and kind of do that type of rollout and plan that way. Like, to me, it's not so much the Holly, if I could address your point there, it's not so much the technology, it's actually the plan, the the process in itself to support this, right? The internal marketing, the training that needs to come along with it. We've got videos, but they're more generic. If we want, do we need to do it specifically for RRC? Do we want to kind of make it a little bit more tailored towards that incorporate some of your best practices that you guys are teaching, that we incorporate some of that? I think that would be excellent, right? To kind of do some of that work there too.
Without a doubt.
Right?
Yeah, where it truly felt like a member benefit. The only thing like in this discussion and everything is we have that We Are CRS on Facebook and we start rolling this out. If it's great, it goes, to 6,000 potential people or whatever that, eyes on it. But if it's negative, I mean, it's like wildfire. If somebody gets on and has a challenge. So that's why that release to our members, we've got to be very, very, very like on, like we have to know that it's going to work, that they're not going to be freezing up constantly and who are they going to call if it does? Yeah,
exactly. And that's why it's not for me about the technology. I am more addressing in the partnership together, the process.
Yeah, and I can see I'm thinking it out loud so that you can have it in your thought too, but we have a number of classes that directly address CRMs and we teach use of. And so it would be great at the right moment where we have a direct link access, to sign up for those, because we wouldn't have 100% adoption, but we'd probably have 40%, 45% adoption in any given class that associates with that type of training. But we're not training as many people right now. So but still you're maybe 1,000 people a year still. So, I mean, you can imagine 40% of 1,000 people a year, you could still run at 600 a year just on education alone, not even talking about our current membership.
Right. And I love, this is the synergies of us, to kind of work together on this, because I agree. Like, I don't think, based on what I've learned when I came out to Chicago and talking with the team, I think that there's a little bit of like, we've opportunity for us to kind of re-engage the membership through some news like this. But I want to be able to kind of then strategically kind of figure out how do we engage them. Let's do a small group first, work out maybe some of the bugs around, the process in itself, right? How they sign up, we're going to give them, so what I would imagine from the system perspective is that we need to make sure that you're a valid CRS member. So we have to build that and reach and kind of make sure that we connect the databases to make sure that, hey, if you sign up as a CRS member, your coupon code is your active CRS membership. If you don't, it's not going to validate that and not give you the discount.
So Annette could say denied.
Our website can. I won't say Annette, but yeah. That's right. But I mean, those are the plumbing that we have to work together on. Yeah. If I sound like a broken record, it's because I am. This is why I am highly encouraging you guys. Let's get going on this. That's why I want to be able to work with you guys to kind of say, are there any other outstanding items on there? Because Pam, correct me, I'm not a real estate agent. What's the term? Oh gosh, what is the term? The escrow date is over now and we're out of the contingency period now. Oh, you're muted, Pam.
Oh, I have to share a story when I was talking to Keck earlier today. Because he, frankly, what he wanted to know is what are we as a leadership missing in order to make our final decision, right? And he said, let me use an example. He says, you write a contract, you get your contract accepted, you go through all your contingencies periods, you do all your due diligence, you mark all your boxes, you dot your I's, cross your T's, and then it's closing day and you say to the seller, can I live in the house for a couple of weeks before I decide whether I'm going to move forward on purchasing your home or not? And I was like, okay, I get it. I completely understand. And I liked that analogy. But then the other thing that really hit home with me in talking to Keck was, we have done our due diligence and we've paid a nice sum for the experts to to dig into what Fieldnotes AI is, what the potential is, et cetera, et cetera. And at some point, even if we don't know how it works, like a TV, we hit the remote and the TV turns on, right? We don't know how a TV works. So at some point, we need to have the faith in Keck and his team and the program to make a decision on, is this good for our organization, and more importantly for our members. I also shared with Keck that we are very member driven. I mean, we are in a leadership position that has a fiduciary responsibility to spend our members' money the best way we should. And it's scary to make this decision. It really is. But at some point, we got to look at, I always tell my agents that I train, the contract doesn't lie. If you stick to the terms and conditions of the contract, it will not lie to you. So if we stick to looking at the numbers that we've been provided by the people that did our due diligence, the numbers don't lie to us. And so it was more comforting to me that I don't actually need to know how Fieldnotes AI works intrinsically. That's Keck and his team's job. What I need to know is that this is a good member benefit and a good option for our organization. Does that kind of sum it up, Keck?
I think you said it better than I did, actually. You know, I don't know if those guys will appreciate my analogy.
No, it was spot on. It really was, because you put it to something that was relatable to me. And I would think to Holly and Dale as well.
Well, I'm looking at it not only as a member benefit, but what we can do as a council in the future with it, to, you know, on those verticals and that type of thing. So yes, as a member benefit, that it's awesome, because we know there's only going to be a certain amount that engage in it, just period. Even if it's a free benefit. I mean, we can say it, we can say we're the first to offer free CRM with AI and all of that, but it really is the bigger picture beyond that. Yes, you know, seeing this demo today, like the full demo, even though it was a brief study of it, but it moved succinctly and we got some questions answered. So I'm appreciative of that. But truly it is like, what beyond that for this additional stream of income that we can have coming in, that's a benefit, obviously, for all of us, for the council, for sure, moving forward. So especially if the market change, go ahead.
I don't know if Dale got that information, but Dale, just to make sure you did, when Holly's talking about verticals, we're talking about this not just being a member benefit for our members as far as real estate goes. Like, you have to be a member to get the discount, but they're talking about verticals like the flooring industry or other housing related verticals that we can use the same platform on. So it's not just real estate related. Is that fair enough? Is that a good description?
Yep. And the idea behind this is, you know, we believe that our original premise when we first started out was to go across multiple industries, but we decided to start with real estate first, and we've been there. And I'll give you my experience with the company I came from. It was a company called Aptio, and we were focused on like IT organizations first, with the whole plan to go beyond there. And I will tell you, 10 years after, since the company started, they're still doing IT, because one, it's a big enough market, and it just doesn't, and it takes a lot more to cross different industries and verticals. So we want to be strategic in how we do this. And that's why we're not saying, oh, we're doing flooring and we're doing real estate and then we're doing like roofing and so forth. We're being very strategic in how we approach this problem space with teaching AI, because teaching AI is the knowledge and the industry knowledge and particulars in each industry is a technology moat in itself. It protects us, whereas there's no way I can compete with a Google or Siri or Alexa, because they've got billions of dollars, but what they cannot touch is right now is in real estate, because they're trying to do it for the masses. And that's what our unique value proposition is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So while you're talking here, I've been sitting here trying to think of what our biggest liabilities are with the company. Do you have any that you're dealing with right now, as far as what are your biggest potential problems, issues, or liabilities, whether it be hiring new people that are needed, or whether it be new tech coming in to combat what you're already doing?
Sure. So, okay. So in terms of liabilities, I thought you were asking me like, do we have any lawsuits or anything like that? And I'll say, no, there isn't. That's what the due diligence is for. But in terms of liabilities, the weakness points right now, I think that, we need to be able to scale and ramp up. We need to be able to move quickly on this, right? And that's why, like, you see on the financial statements that you've seen from the due diligence, we are always growing and expanding as fast as we can, given that we've been bootstrapping our business as well too, right? We're trying to gather as much market share as possible so that we can accelerate our growth, and that's what's going to help us kind of increase the speed to market and capture market share, and that makes us also more interesting to other future companies as well too, right? If we wanted to take the company to go public, or if you wanted to use it to kind of be acquired by, let's say, a Salesforce or something in the future, right? And then as far as like in terms of any weakness areas, it is using the capital that we're asking for, right? The investment that you guys are doing, the partnership that we're doing, is to be able to kind of scale and kind of invest in hiring more people to be able to kind of support that. And if we want to do it rapidly as well.
And you answered the question, no liabilities. I'm actually an attorney, so I was.
Are you really?
I was actually, everybody always makes fun of me for that. I don't know why it's such a bad thing.
Well, I'm thinking every conversation we've had so far has included Salesforce, like buying us out in the future. I think we probably need a vision board and have Salesforce at the top. So we all realize that in the future, and then we just make sure that in those negotiations that this remains a member benefit for our RRC members.
Oh, that's exactly it, Holly. Like, I totally agree. So, now that we've got a lawyer and then we're being recorded, now I have to be careful what I say. I'm sorry, Dale.
We all knew he was a lawyer, and we've been talking freely. That's why he's on the committee. This is a confidential conversation.
No. So we've been, just kind of share with you, I was introduced to an executive at Salesforce a number of years. He's the VP of technology, and he actually shared with us when they acquired an AI company, and they were nowhere close. This was one of the examples I shared with you in the initial deck of, where they paid a premium for that AI company. And when I was at first, to be honest with you, this was about 3 years ago, I was hesitant to show them what we were building because we were like, our technology is not quite there yet. But when he looked at it, he says, look, we at Salesforce, we have no interest in copying your stuff. We're in the M&A mode, and we're here to buy companies and startups, and then we will integrate into our platform. We just don't have the technology or the manpower to be able to, kind of acquire or build it ourselves and go through all that painstaking process. So companies like you would be ideal, because for two reasons. One, we don't have this particular AI technology within our platform. Secondly, we don't have access to the small, medium businesses. And if that's what you bring to the table as well too, it's a double bonus for us, which makes it super interesting. But we need you to grow to a certain size before it becomes more interesting for us. So that's where I feel like the opportunity for us could make it even more interesting overall. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anything else? It's a great discussion. I love this conversation that we're having here.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it was important. So thank you for taking some additional time.
Yeah, for sure. Dale, to answer your question off the cuff of my head, you had asked about like usership and current customers, and as well too. We've got over, don't quote me on this, but I think we've got about over 500 plus customers right now. I think it's more closer to 600, but I'm being conservative with that number with you. Retention is about 80%, close to 80%. It used to be lower, and this is part of like the software cycle. As you are a newer software, you know, as you build more features, it obviously increases with the retention as well too. Right. And then as far as like usership, what else can I answer for you?
I can get all the information you've already
Yeah,
given.
you could.
So we don't belabor for those that have already heard it. So
Okay, fair enough. Are there any other questions? I guess, like, you know, what do and I'll ask one more question, one final question for me. But do you guys have any questions for me? Keith, you've been the strong silent type. Do you have any questions?
He's done talking to you, Keck.
I've spent a lot of time talking to you, Keck, but I do have a question. When you spell your last name, does autocorrect always change it to the?
There's a pending lawsuit, right? Dale, help me here. There's a pending lawsuit between the Tay clan and Microsoft one day. That will happen.
I'll tell you, I mean, it gets me every single time I type your name. It autocorrects.
That's right. But you will never forget the last name anymore after this.
Just don't use his last name anymore.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Fair enough. So let me ask you this. Time frame, timeline, what does that look like for you guys? If this is good for, you know, like, I feel like we've hopefully, you know, and I know it's not the full board right now, but like, you know, what's your time frame for getting this done so that we can plan for it, you know, or if not, we need, you know, we'd like to know sooner than later. We would be sad, but, you know, at least we can move on.
Agreed. We all feel like there needs to be forward motion one way or the other. We're all in agreement on that. That's why we wanted to have this conversation today and record this. You know, I know that Dan's not able to be on here today. Alex has already seen the presentation, so.
And well, Trish is the last person. I don't think Dale, I'm glad that we had an opportunity to talk and meet. I don't think we've met with Trish as well too.
Well, Trish is actually, she coordinates for us to be on meetings. She's actually, you know, she works at
Trisha, sorry.
Oh, Trisha Nakota.
Sorry, yes, Trisha.
Yeah, so she's the first vice president. So we can share with her the recording so she can take a look at that as well.
So we're going to try to get, we're going to try to get the group together before the end of the week, Keck, and meet, if not sooner, and keep it moving forward and try to get an answer and get it over to the board. And if it gets referred to the board, we will try to call a board meeting as soon as possible.
How long does it usually take? I'm curious.
It's whenever they can get together.
Okay.
It could take a day or 4 days, but you know.
So what's in your favor is the last 2 years, you know, we are also accustomed to Zoom, that we can pull those meetings together a whole lot easier than without. You know, we can send out an email and get that put together in a fairly short amount of time. So
just to clarify, we need to have another task force meeting, correct? And then board meeting.
Correct.
Before the final decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm going to try to get that scheduled before the end of the week, Pam.
Okay, so
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Pam.
Well, I was going to ask, because I did see Eric's face pop up a minute ago. Does he have anything to add? Because I haven't heard much from Eric.
No, I was here just to help Keck and also address any questions, but he was able to respond to everything exactly how we're thinking. I mean, we're looking forward to this potential partnership. I think it's great synergies, honestly, between the two. And, we're just waiting,
waiting for us to make a decision.
Yeah, and then,
waiting for us to say yes to the dress. Is that
pretty much? So, I'm hearing like what Dale's thinking, and I'm like in the back of my head operationalizing all of that still. So all of those are just clicking in my head as I'm taking notes. So, when you guys are ready, we're going to be here to move as quickly as possible.
Yeah. As far as like, in terms of like the checklist, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the due diligence, I know that is done, right? So that, the only thing that is from our side, was just depending legal terms and dealing with the terms, and that is about it. And that's when it stopped, right? I don't see anything else at this point in time, except from you guys in terms of like any last minute questions and kind of giving you guys the opportunity to kind of, look through the system one more time too.
Correct.
And Dale's going to receive a copy of everything. He was on vacation, so was not able to be on our task force meeting
Okay.
last week. And so now, now that we're all here together, and then we've got this recording, anybody that wants to watch it can watch it.
Sure.
Trisha is not actually on this task force, so it's not pending that before it goes to the board if that's what we decide to do.
Okay.
By all means, we want her to look at it as well, since she follows Pam in her presidency. But that's where we're at. Dale will have a chance to look over everything, and of course, it'll make a whole lot more sense to him than it even did Pam and I, though we were, had it explained to us. So I think we're good, except we just wanted one last actual run through and to have an opportunity to ask questions.
Okay. So this is the final walkthrough. I'm trying to draw the analogy for Pam. We're doing a final walkthrough. Is that what we're doing today?
Yeah.
True.
Okay. Eric's here to kind of say there will be no squatting for the next 2 weeks in this hole.
No, actually, I did have one more thing to add. I mean, I know a lot of the questions some of the questions were about the onboarding and that process. And, myself and Derek and Keck, we're all consultants for Big Four firms, and we were used to bringing on these large enterprise engagements together. So, when that comes on, we know how to think of those large scales to bring them on, and we'll be ready.
It's a partnership. It's not just hey, we've got their money. We're
right. No, we want to, once you guys say yes, we want everyone on your team, all your members to join. That's our goal, to get everyone that benefit, because we know if they're all on, you guys are happy, we're happy, everyone's going to be happy. And that's going to be transformative for the next vertical as well, right? Because we can say we brought on this huge team. We can now do, if we think broader, think insurance or think whatever it might be, right? We can have those tangential industries, or we can go completely big. And when we're ready for it, and we've seen and proven that we can do it for your team, we can show we can do it for others.
So win-win.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And Pam,
everybody.
and all of you, I appreciate you putting up with my analogies.
We'll hold it against you later. I was going to say, just don't have any cause for analogies moving forward. If this is the direction we go, we don't want to go, oh, we pulled a Keck or he pulled an Eric, or, you know what I'm saying? Be careful.
We're going to work.
Know what you're saying.
We're going to work on our own AI analogies for you, Keck.
Correct.
That's perfect, you guys. Okay.
Right.
Well, if you guys have any other questions, reach out. I'll send you the copy of the recording link as well too. Okay, so if you guys have anything else, let us know.
We might want to lose
Thank
that.
you.
But anyway, all right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.